Today we're talking about tagging goats for identification, what the law says about tagging, how to do it, and how to get your official ID tags. By the end of this episode, you'll have the information you need to make the best tagging decision for your herd. Hey friends, welcome to the Get Goatwise podcast. Are you longing to raise goats and other animals for food but don't know where to start? Do you want to be more self-sufficient and less dependent on the grocery store? Do you wish you had a mentor to walk you through raising livestock? Hi, I'm Millie, animal scientist, cattle girl turned goat rancher, co-owner of Dry Creek Livestock, and simple living enthusiast. For 15 years, I've been on a mission to raise all of our own meat, eggs, and dairy. Here, we'll talk about raising goats and other homestead livestock, how to create sustainable animal management systems that actually work, and a bit of off-grid life with kids and livestock. If you're ready to take control of your food supply, raise livestock with confidence, and provide your family with the most nourishing meat, eggs, and dairy available, you're in the right place. Kick off your muck boots, pour a cup of coffee, and let's talk livestock. Before we get started on today's topic, I want to read a review by Madsen Livestock. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, but when I do, it usually concerns livestock. Millie's podcast, Get Goatwise, caught my attention quickly and I couldn't stop listening. Very informative with practical steps to get started from a person with real-life livestock experience. Thank you. If you'd like to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, scroll down to Ratings and Reviews, click on the purple words, Write a Review, then give me stars and tell me what you think. I'd love to hear from you, and you might just hear me share your review on the podcast. Here's what's happening on the ranch. Kidding is officially complete for the year, unless something surprises us. Technically, based on when the bucks were in, we could have kids for 5 more weeks, but I'm fairly sure we're finished. We currently have 99 live kids, including 8 bottle babies, all born in the first heat. We've lost 9 kids with no death loss in the does. We had some early kids in March, and they're not included in these numbers. When I get all the data entered and calculated, I'll let you know how we did. My kids, the human ones, are hard at work on their 4-H livestock projects. All 3 have hogs, my oldest has steers, and the middle and youngest have goats for county fair. They'll also be taking a lamb and 2 goats to state fair this year. All right, let's talk about tagging. Should you tag your goats? What are the benefits of tagging? When I talk about tagging goats, I'm referring to plastic or metal ID tags that are put in their ears. There's also the option of tattooing goats with their ID inside their ear, but we won't be talking about that today. I come from a commercial cattle background, so I grew up tagging everything for the purposes of record keeping. You could look at the records and know everything about a specific cow. How old she was, how many calves she had, if she'd had difficulty calving, if she was a good mom, everything that was important to production. So, I knew when our goat herd started growing, we needed a system for tagging and identification that would help us manage them well and simply. With cows, the calf's tag would usually have the year it was born and then its mom's number, but that would be challenging with goats for 2 reasons. They commonly have multiple births, so the twins' tags would be the same, and with the Scrapie Eradication Program tagging requirements, the tags have to be pre-printed, ordered from a USDA-approved manufacturer, and numbers cannot be duplicated. The solution we were searching for needed to do a few things. Each animal needed a unique identification number, and we wanted the tags to tell us what year the kid was born, who its mom was, and what genetic line it came from. The goal was to be able to walk out into the pasture, look at a goat's identification, and know all of the vital information about it without having to go check the records. I'll tell you what we ended up with for our tagging plan in a minute, but first, let's talk about the USDA tagging requirements. This information is summarized from the USDA website. The National Scrapie Eradication Program, NSEP, a cooperative state, federal industry program, is working to eradicate classical scrapie from the United States and meet World Organization for Animal Health criteria for disease freedom. To date, the program has eliminated scrapie in 99% of U.S. sheep and goats. The program is conducting targeted sampling of subpopulations that have a higher prevalence of scrapie than the general sheep-goat population to find the remaining cases. What is scrapie? Scrapie is an incurable, fatal, degenerative disease that affects the central nervous system of sheep and goats. Federal and state regulations require producers to officially identify their sheep and goats under NSEP. You must also keep herd records showing what animals were added and what animals left the herd or flock. Records must be kept for 5 years after the animal is sold or otherwise disposed. How do you get official NSEP ID tags? First, you need to contact your state to get a premise identification number or location identifier. Each state does this differently, so I'll link that information in the show notes. Once you have your premise or location ID, you call USDA for a flock ID. Sometimes it's the same as your premise ID, and sometimes it's not. The contact info for USDA is in the Animal ID and Record Keeping link in the show notes. You can get 100 free tags from NSEP when you set up your flock ID. What animals need to be identified as part of the NSEP? Nearly all sheep and goats before they enter interstate commerce or if ownership changes. Goats need to be tagged when leaving the premises or being sold to another owner. Animals under 18 months old that will be used for breeding need a tag. All goats over 18 months old need a tag. There are exemptions and technicalities for goats under 18 months going directly to slaughter and goats being transported for grazing purposes with no change in ownership. This information in its full government glory is linked in the show notes. We've found that most sale barns now require a Scrapie ID to sell your animals, and if you don't have one, they can put one in as an agent under the current rules, but they'll charge you for it. With all of the exemptions, technicalities, and continually changing requirements, we decided to tag everything and stop worrying about what needs a tag or doesn't. I don't love tagging requirements at all because they open the door to more government overreach, but I see the good in the NSEP, so we compromise and tag following the requirements. How does this look practically during kidding season? We usually tag within 24 to 48 hours of birth. At tagging, we weigh the kids, record their tag number, gender, color, teat structure, bite, and if the doe needed assistance or if there were any problems. We spray their navel with iodine and spray the tags with Nolvasan to prevent joint ill. Place tags high up on the ear, not down on the bottom where they can easily catch on things and get torn out. Feel for the veins and cartilage in the ear and place the tag in a soft spot between veins and cartilage. It's much easier to tag when they're little because their ears are still soft and the tag goes in easily, which causes minimal pain for the kids. How do we meet our tagging and information needs while following the rules? What's on the tags? First, we use different colored tags to identify genetic lines. Lime green tags for the show goats, yellow tags for the commercial boar herd, and orange tags for the Spanish goats from Smoke Ridge. Next, we use the Scrapie ID tag to tell us the year the kid was born and its unique identification number. This year, all tag numbers start with a 4, using the last digit of the year to indicate the year of birth. There are 3 digits after the year that are sequential, and we tag the kids in the order they were born, so that gives us a rough idea when the kids were born throughout kidding season. Doelings get this official pre-printed tag in their right ear, and bucklings get tagged in their left ear. I really like the tags from Premier One Supplies, and their link is in the show notes. We've tried different sizes and shapes, and the best fit for us is the Q-Flex 3. The numbers are big enough that we can see them from a distance, but the tags are small enough that they don't get caught on everything. If seeing the numbers from a distance wasn't important, we would be using the mini tags, which worked great otherwise. Also, if you have dwarf goats, the mini tag is a better fit. I like getting the back side of the tag customized with our ranch name, so if we happen to have a rogue goat, our name is right there on the tag. It's a great option to let people know who your goats belong to if they wander off or get lost. Finally, we handwrite a tag in the same color as their mother's tag with her number on it, followed by A, B, or C for multiples. That way, we know the dam's genetic lines, who she is, and if she has multiples. We call this the mama tag. When we walk out in the kidding pen and I see a kid with a yellow Scrapie tag in its right ear with the number 4085 and a yellow handwritten tag in its left ear that says 2021-A, here's what I know. It's a doe kid because the Scrapie tag is in the right ear. She was obviously born this year, but when she's older, I'll know how old she is because her scrapie number starts with a 4. She was born in the middle of kidding season because the yellow tag sequence goes from 4041 to 4120. She's from our Boer genetic lines. That's because of the yellow tag. Her mom is 2 years old and also from our Boer lines, and this doe kid is a twin. Lots of information from 2 tags at a glance, right? Now, when I walk out in the pasture and look at does, I know who our yearlings are. Their tags start with a 3. I can tell the genetics and age of every buck and doe in our herd without pulling out the records. Originally, we had planned to cut out the mama tags, but it's been fun to watch the goats congregate in families, and we've left those tags in so we can immediately know if we have a mom and daughter hanging out together, or twins napping together, or sometimes a doe will take her sister or her mom with her when she goes away from the herd to kid. I'd like to keep better records on this someday, but for now, it's just fun to notice and watch. Tagging is a great way to keep track of information on your goats, and it's up to you how you do it. I hope that sharing our method gives you some insight into the value of tagging and the information that can be contained on a little plastic tag or two. Hey there, thanks for listening today. I'm so glad you're here. If this episode helped you or encouraged you in some way, share the link with your homesteading friends. And if you really want to help me out, click on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and a review. You can connect with me on Instagram or email linked in the show notes, and meet me back here soon for more Get Goat Wise.